Chapter 705. You like to fight with the King of Hell for people in the end. Yihan captured Chu Qingya alive, and the 100,000 Imperial Guards were forced to surrender. Yihan deployed 150,000 troops to guard Jiangdu City, and the Black Cloud Cavalry set off with him. Yihan escorted Yingxue to the Marquis Manor, and then bid her farewell. A hint of unease crossed Yingxue's mind. "Where are you going, Your Highness?" Yihan's expression was stern. His wounds had yet to be tended to. "I still have important matters to attend to. Once everything is settled, I will come to the Marquis Manor to propose." "Your Highness," Yingxue couldn't detain him. As she watched him ride off with the Black Cloud Cavalry, a heavy sense of unease settled in her heart. What was he planning to do? "It's not safe outside." Ziwei's hoarse voice echoed in her ears. Yingxue turned to see him, noticing his numerous injuries. She hurriedly led him to the medicine hut. Originally reserved for her research, the medicine hut had become bustling lately. Before their return, Saint Wuan had treated Qin Muyan's wounds. However, Qin Muyan was stubborn and insisted on seeing Yingxue immediately. Saint Wuan, not one to be lenient, laced his medicine with a hefty dose of sleeping powder, causing Qin Muyan to fall into a deep slumber. Unaware of this, Yingxue attended to Ziwei's wounds. Saint Wuan approached Yingxue, observing her unharmed state and her ability to administer medicine. He smirked. "You're quite fortunate. Even the King of Hell wouldn't dare to claim you." Yingxue chuckled in agreement. Yes. When she first died, even the King of Hell hadn't claimed her. Reflecting on it now, it seemed the King of Hell still didn't dare. Saint Wuan was right. Although conversing with Saint Wuan, Yingxue's attention remained on Ziwei. Thankfully, his wounds weren't severe. After applying the medicine, she advised him, "Rest well during this period. In a few days, I'll prepare another dose to cleanse the poison in your body, sparing you further agony." Yingxue's eyes gleamed with determination, stirring something within Ziwei. He nodded. "All right. Covered in wounds yet still alive. You are quite the stroke of luck." Saint Wuan mused, stroking his chin. Having lived many times longer than Yingxue and treated far more patients, he found Ziwei's survival remarkable. It was also thanks to Yingxue that Ziwei had originally been a half-dead person, but she had slowly treated him until now, and he had surprisingly remained alive and well. Saint Wuan remarked, "You seem to enjoy snatching souls from the King of Hell." Crossing out names from the list of souls destined for the afterlife seemed to be her specialty. Yingxue found Saint Wuan's evaluation refreshing. Doctors, in their efforts to save lives, often find themselves grappling with death. A successful doctor triumphs over death. She felt a sense of pride in her ability to save lives. "Miss, the master requests your presence," Yihan announced from the entrance of the medicine hut. Yingxue entrusted the medicine hut to Saint Wuan, and proceeded alone to meet Qingji in the main hall. Qingji's brow furrowed deeply, his expression grave. "Yingxue, what's the situation outside today?" Knowing she couldn't conceal the truth from Qingji, Yingxue recounted. The emperor attempted to assassinate the 9th prince, but he managed to save himself by mobilizing his troops in time. Currently, the 7th prince has been captured. The 9th prince? I fear he can no longer contain himself. Qingji sighed heavily. Aware that turmoil in the royal court was inevitable, Qingji had not anticipated that Yingxue would become the catalyst. Would she be able to shoulder the weight of the world's responsibility in the future? Chapter 706. Someone from the Four Weapons Hall came. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. Everyone looked at Yi Li in horror. They had never seen someone like Yi Li. Yi Li slowly left. He released the Apocalypse Legion from the system space, and asked them to find the whereabouts of the other zombies. He had stayed in White Cloud Base City for 2 days. Now he could be said to be a thunderclap in White Cloud Base City. His name was simply household here. The sunlight shone on Yi Li's face through the window. Yi Li opened his eyes. After a simple wash-up, a wicked smile appeared on his face. The Four Weapons Hall is finally here? With that, Yi Li activated his swift steps and disappeared from the scene. When he appeared again, Yi Li was in the wilderness. Senior Sister Lung, is that Demon King Yili really that powerful? He can easily defeat Senior Sister Lung Shui. Don't you think he's powerful? So what? Master is leading the team this time. No matter how powerful Demon King Yili is, he will die an ugly death. He actually dared to challenge the Four Weapons Hall. A group of genetic warriors from the Four Weapons Hall was heading toward White Cloud Base City. The leader was an old man, an 8th tier chosen one. Yili could not defeat an 8th tier chosen one at the moment. However, he had absolute confidence that he could escape. This was the charm of the swift steps. Then Yili appeared in front of them. The disciples of the Four Weapons Hall were all stunned. They did not notice Yili's appearance at all. Brat, quickly get out of the way. You actually dare to block the path of our Four Weapons Hall. A Tier 1 Transcender said coldly. Lung Shui looked at Yili and her face turned even colder. He is Demon King Yili, Lung Shui said coldly. What? The dozen or so disciples of the Four Weapons Hall were all shocked. They would never have thought that the person in front of them was Demon King Yili. Demon King Yili, I didn't expect you to be waiting for us here. Lung Shui glared at Yili. Yili smiled calmly and said to Lung Shui, I, Demon King Yili, am not waiting for these people here, but you. I've already decided to change your coldness. Lung Shui's expression changed. She really didn't expect Demon King Yili to still be so talkative. Are you the Demon King Yili? The old man in the lead looked at Yili. The old man's name was Tangang. He was the leader of the Four Weapons Hall Spear Hall, and an 8th tier chosen one. That's right, I am Demon King Yili. Yili said lightly. Tangang smiled when he heard this. I've lived in the Mystic Land for many years, but I've never seen such an arrogant junior like you. Didn't you see it now? Yili said calmly. As soon as these words were spoken, the dozen or so disciples of the Four Weapons Hall were all enraged. They did not expect that Demon King Yili could still be so arrogant in front of their master. Demon King Yili, do you know who you are talking to? A disciple shouted at Yili. Yili smiled. Of course I know. All the disciples were stunned. They looked at Yili in shock. Wasn't I talking to Li Qianquan? Li Qianquan? The dozen or so disciples of the Four Weapons Hall were even more shocked. They naturally knew Li Qianquan. He was the Hall Master of the Knife Hall, and had already died in the wasteland. The leader of the Spear Hall, Tangang, laughed coldly. Demon King Yili, I am not Li Qianquan, but the leader of the Spear Hall of the Four Weapons Hall, Tangang. The disciples originally thought that Yili would be shocked, but they didn't expect that not only was Yili not shocked, there was no change in his expression at all. Chapter 707. You know what I want to do. Translator. Henyi Translations Editor. Henyi Translations. The disciples of the Four Weapons Hall would never have thought that Demon King Yili's expression would remain unchanged after hearing their master's name. Oh right, is Li Qianquan an 8th tier chosen one? Yili suddenly asked. The dozen or so Spear Hall disciples were shocked when they heard this. They really did not understand why Yili would ask such a question. That's right. Lung Shui said coldly to Yili. Yili smiled. Since I, Demon King Yili, can kill Li Qianquan, why can't I kill your master? What? As soon as he said this, the dozen or so disciples of the Four Weapons Hall turned pale with fright. They looked at Yili with their mouths agape. You're saying that you killed the Qianquan broadsword master? The leader of the Spear Hall looked at Yili in shock. Not only did I kill Li Qianquan, but I also killed 12 elders of your Four Weapons Hall, Yili said calmly. When Tangang heard this, his expression was terrifyingly cold because 3 of the 12 elders Yili killed were from the Spear Hall. Demon King Yili, I didn't expect you to be such a person. I'm really impressed. Tangang smiled coldly. He stared at Yili and realized that Yili was only a 5th tier chosen one. Qianquan broadsword master Li Qianquan, and the 12 elders of the Four Weapons Hall died in the wasteland. Of course he did not believe that Yili did it alone, because this was definitely not something a 5th tier chosen one could do. Demon King Yili, you caused my Four Weapons Hall to suffer heavy casualties. It's not too much for me to kill you now, right? A look of disdain appeared on Tangang's face. In his opinion, Yili was already a dead man. Are you even worthy of killing my Demon King Yili? Yili shook his head. Although he couldn't beat Tangang, it wouldn't be easy for Tangang to kill Yi Li. The dozen or so disciples of the Spear Hall were extremely angry. They had seen arrogant people, but they had never heard of someone as arrogant as Yi Li. Yingxue stared at Yi Li. She really didn't know why he could still be so calm in such a situation. Was he not afraid of death? Umph! Tangang snorted, and was about to attack Yi Li. But before he could make a move, Yi Li suddenly disappeared from the spot. Tangang caught sight of Yi Li's figure, but he was too close to Yi Li. When he was about to attack, Yi Li was already in front of Yingxue. A terrifying longsword was pressed against Yingxue's neck. How was that possible? The dozens of Spear Hall disciples were all dumbfounded. They couldn't even believe it. They only saw Yi Li disappear on the spot. In the next second, Yi Li appeared in front of Yingxue with a terrifying long sword in his hand. As for the long sword in Yi Li's hand, the dozen or so disciples were all shocked. They could swear that they had never seen such a terrifying sword. They felt like they had entered a cycle of reincarnation with just a glance. Yingxue was the same. She did not expect such a situation. For a moment, she could not help but be stunned. Yi Li, what do you want to do? Tangang roared at Yi Li. Yi Li smiled faintly. You know what I want to do. As soon as these words were spoken, Tangang and the dozen or so disciples of the Spear Hall were all shocked. They knew that as long as Yi Li's sword went any further, Yingxue would disappear from this world forever. Chapter 708. The Truth Back Then Useless. Seeing this, Qin Muyan cursed angrily, unable to hide his frustration. Qin Muyan was incapable, failing to eliminate Yihan. As for the Empress, she was proving to be utterly worthless. Watch this place, Yihan ordered sternly. Behind him, Mochi immediately knelt, his voice filled with determination. Yes, master, we will ensure that no one breaches this area. Both he and the Black Cloud cavalry behind him exuded a formidable presence, rendering everyone silent and motionless. Advancing with his Qingfeng sword in hand, Yihan seized Mingyuan by the collar, dragging him forcefully into the imperial study. Dragged along, Mingyuan's golden crown swayed precariously atop his head, his disheveled appearance projecting anything but the dignity of an emperor. Thrown unceremoniously onto the dragon throne, Mingyuan found the Qingfeng sword pressed against his throat, its blade gleaming threateningly. Yihan's eyes glinted with a mixture of allure and menace as he spoke. After all these years, you still can't contain yourself? You. Yihan. Trembling with fear, Mingyuan found himself unable to articulate a response, overwhelmed by the humiliation of the situation. Answer me. Are you feeling uneasy sitting on this throne? Yihan's blood-streaked countenance, both enchanting and eerie, exuded a palpable aura of danger, intensifying the emperor's discomfort. Though unspoken, Mingyuan's inner turmoil was evident in his trembling lips and desperate silence. Yes, this throne has become unbearable, causing me endless sleepless nights. Mingyuan thought to himself, but he still couldn't answer. However, he refused to yield to Yihan's intimidation. Yihan, I am the rightful emperor, bestowed the throne by the late emperor himself. Your actions constitute treason. My father and our ancestors will not let you escape punishment, and the people will not forgive you. Mingyuan's outburst was met with a mocking smile from Yihan, whose lips curled in contempt. Father? The people of the realm? It was I who received the throne from my father. I conquered the vast lands of the great Qing dynasty. What right do you have to blame me? You, Mingyuan exclaimed, his agitation causing him to bump into Yihan's sword tip. You're talking nonsense. I am the emperor. I am the rightful emperor of the great Qing dynasty. What evidence do you have to prove that father passed the throne to you? There was none. It couldn't exist. Back then, when Yihan was on an expedition, father was weak, and Mingyuan seized the opportunity to kill Consort Shu and destroy the decree he had left with Yihan's mother. There was no way Yihan could have known about this. Do you think that killing my mother would allow you to succeed? Yihan sneered, his eyes gleaming with a chilling light that made people tremble in fear. He unscrewed the hilt of the Qing frost sword, and took out a smooth silk scroll. Written clearly on it was the decree. Pass the throne to the 9th prince, Yihan. The imprint of the jade seal, stored for many years, was still as clear as ever. Mingyuan was terrified. How could this be? How could this be? Was the decree he destroyed back then fake? Or was father biased? Giving Consort Shu a decree was not enough, he secretly hid one for Yihan. Back then, mother was afraid that you would harm me in the army, so she prepared a fake decree and released the news, diverting all your attention to her. Recalling the past, Yihan's eyes turned crimson. For the sake of this decree, you killed my mother and forced father to his death. Chapter 709. Mingyuan had been resentful for many years. Mingyuan disregarded the wound on his neck as he sat up on the dragon throne and bellowed. You know everything. Yihan, so you already knew everything. Yet you pretended not to know for so many years. You're playing with me. Yes. Yihan answered him decisively, his voice cold and deep. For so many years, you've been unable to sleep day and night. Every day, you're worried that he'll rebel and kill you. How does it feel? Do you feel good? Yihan. Mingyuan roared in a low voice. The truth was slowly revealed by Yihan. He would never admit that Yihan was telling the truth. He hadn't enjoyed a peaceful night's sleep since he ascended to the dragon throne many years ago. You still don't dare to admit it? Yihan pressed on and even told him. Your son, Qingye, is dying. You can't kill me and neither can he. I've gathered enough troops around Yanyan City to flatten the palace and kill all your people in the court. I'll erase you from the history of the great Qing dynasty and burn everything you've done. Yihan, how dare you? How dare you? I am the emperor of the great Qing dynasty. Why not? I conquered all the nations, earned the reverence of the 3 kingdoms, and gained the submission of the 9 provinces. If it weren't for me allowing you to ascend the throne back then, how could you be seated on this dragon throne and become the emperor? Yihan grabbed his neck and suppressed him from above. Everything you have today is what I gave you. I won't let you don't deserve anything. Presumptuous. I am your royal brother, I am the emperor. Mingyuan was still struggling. He would never admit that Yihan was telling the truth. Imperial brother? Killed my mother's imperial brother? The emperor? Take a look around. Who else in the imperial palace would still regard you as the emperor? Yihan's eyes were filled with mockery. He looked at Mingyuan as if he was watching a clown. Mingyuan's face flushed red. Yihan's forceful abdication and his mockery were like knives stabbing into his heart. Yihan. He stood up forcefully and shouted at him. What right do you have? What right do you have to treat me like this? We're both father's sons. I'm older than you and not inferior to you. My mother's family background is not inferior to yours. But why does father favor you the most? When you were young, you and your brother were father's favorite son. The other princes were not even half as good as you. Later on, you repeatedly made military achievements and made father look at you in a new light. However, you were only in your teens at that time. I've been the crown prince for more than 10 years. As long as father passed away, I am the rightful emperor. But why can father cripple me and pass the throne to you just because of you? This was unfair. This was unfair to him, who was diligent and loyal to his father. So, you harmed my brother, killed my mother, and even forced my father to die just to sit on this dragon throne? The door of the imperial study was tightly shut. Yihan stood against the light, half of his face buried in the shadows. His expression was dark and deep, and it was hard to fathom. Mingyuan stood up straight and roared. Yes. He pointed at the majestic golden throne behind him, and revealed a greedy expression. This is the dragon throne, the symbol of the emperor. It's the position of the ruler of the world. The throne. There's only one in this world, wielding the power of life and death, enjoying supreme glory, noble for generations to come. This is the supreme power and status. How can I hand it over to others? This should belong to me. How can I give it to you? Chapter 710. The thorn in my heart for so many years for the throne. Mingyuan wouldn't hesitate to harm his young brother, kill concubines, or even commit matricide and filicide. Becoming emperor mattered more to him than anything else. Heh. Chu Yihan's lips curled into a scornful smile. Since you're so fond of the throne, then by all means, keep sitting there. Chu Mingyuan trembled. What do you mean? He didn't plan to kill him? He was a powerless loner. Chu Mingyuan couldn't fathom why Chu Yihan, now having him at his mercy, didn't exact revenge and instead allowed him to remain on the throne. Killing you would be simple, but you've coveted this throne for so long. I'll let you sit there until your dying breath. Chu Yihan pressed the tip of his sword against Chu Mingyuan's neck, drawing a shallow wound. It wasn't fatal, but the sensation of blood seeping out was enough to instill fear and dread. As long as I'm alive, you'll never hold real power. You'll forever be a puppet emperor. Let me show you just how tempting the throne is, and what it truly means to be an emperor. With a swift motion, Chu Yihan pushed him back onto the throne, then effortlessly seized the jade seal from his desk. Unable to bear the humiliation, Chu Mingyuan pursued him desperately. Chu Yihan, I'll never allow you to do this. I won't let you take the jade seal. Clang. A sharp clang sliced through the air as Chu Yihan's Qingfeng sword pierced Chu Mingyuan's body, causing excruciating pain. Ah! Chu Mingyuan roared in agony. Why? He had devoted so much effort to plotting Chu Yihan's demise, enduring countless sleepless nights just to see him dead. He had thought everything would go according to plan. The fear and rage that had simmered within him for years finally found release, but it was Chu Yihan's sword that became the outlet. The moment it struck, he felt as though his entire being was torn asunder, the pain piercing his heart. Chu Yihan. Chu Yihan was like a thorn in his heart, a needle in his soul, tormenting him incessantly. Leaving the imperial study with the jade seal in hand, Chu Yihan was greeted by soldiers who knelt in unison, cheering for his victory. It was a celebration of his rightful claim to power. Holding the jade seal aloft, Chu Yihan declared, "Though I've reclaimed the jade seal today, I remain the 9th prince of the great Qing dynasty. No need for long-lived chance, but remember, the great Qing dynasty belongs to me. Yes, your highness. For eternity, you shall reign as the great Qing dynasty's eternal king." Their unified voices thundered like an unstoppable force, echoing loudly and resolutely. "Follow me to the Marquis of Marshal South's manor for a proposal." With Chu Yihan's command, tens of thousands of soldiers marched in perfect formation behind him, a formidable force moving from the imperial palace to the Marquis of Marshal South's manor. The people of the Marquis manor could hear the deafening sound from far away. The womenfolk huddled together in fear. Su Han escorted them to the backyard, and then went to the front hall, beside Su Qingji. It was a rare occasion for the Su family to gather together so orderly. Even Su Xinlan, trembling with fear, brought her children back to hide. She had heard of the chaos in Jiangdu City, where Chu Yihan was forcing the abdication, and soldiers flooded the streets. Although Changxin Marquis Manor had its guards, they couldn't compare to the forces led by Su Qingji in the Marquis of Marshal South's manor. Moreover, Su Yingxue, Chu Yihan's beloved, was also in this manor. Chapter 7:11. Close to the Marquis manor, the one who forced Su Han out of power was her husband. No matter where she was not as safe as Su Yingxue. Despite the commotion outside the mansion and the approach of unknown danger, Su Han remained calm and collected as she approached Su Qingji. "Grandpa, the ladies have all been taken care of. Don't worry," she reassured him. "All right, Hainer, you can go to the backyard first." Su Qingji, clad in armor, furrowed his brows. This time, the visitors outside were likely unfriendly. As the head of the family, he had to protect everyone within the household. Su Han frowned. She knew that although Su Qingji was old, he was still brave and skilled in combat. However, she also had her responsibilities to fulfill. She stood beside Su Qingji and said firmly, "Grandpa, I am your granddaughter, and I will stand by your side. The children of the Su family fear nothing." Su Qingji's eyes showed admiration as he patted Su Han's shoulder. "Well said. The children of the Su family should be like this." Su Xinlan, with her son and daughter, hid in a side hall. She sneered disdainfully. "What's the point of pretending? Is hiding not safe? What use is there for a delicate young miss?" If rebel soldiers come in, they'll kill you first. Beside her was a timid-looking boy of about 12 or 13. Mother, are rebel soldiers coming? I'm scared, I don't want to die. Su Xinlan held her son's hand, intending to comfort him, but her daughter interrupted. Useless. Your maternal grandfather is a defender general. What rebel army would dare to attack here? Even if the emperor wanted to attack, he'd have to think twice. The girl was eloquent, and behind her not-so-beautiful appearance, there was a shrewdness. Su Xinlan smiled satisfactorily. She held her son's hand, comforting and educating him. Hunger, learn from your sister. You can't be inferior to her. Yihan nodded understandingly and nestled into Su Xinlan's arms. He was different from his sister since he was little, being obedient. Whatever Su Xinlan said he would do. In this situation, they sought refuge, and he didn't understand anything. So he stayed in his mother's arms. Zhenzhen, who had been articulate earlier, rolled her eyes at her brother's weakness. She held Su Xinlan's arm and speculated. Mother, do you think the person who came is the 9th prince? I've admired 9th prince for a long time. It would be great to meet him today. If the 9th prince comes, I'll make sure you meet him. Su Xinlan patted Zhenzhen's hand. She had met the 9th prince before. Although she didn't like him, she was willing to fulfill her daughter's wishes. Even though Zhenzhen was already 18 and engaged, there was no harm in broadening her horizons. They hid in the side hall. Upon learning that Su Yingxue had secretly gone to the front door of the medicine hut, Su Qingji was anxious to find her. As he walked, he scolded. This child is becoming more disobedient. How could she leave my side? If stray soldiers entered at this time and harmed her, it would be disastrous. Su Qingji was anxious. Beside him, Su Dingheng, who was forced to follow, trembled in fear. Father, Yingxue knows martial arts. Ordinary people can't hurt her. Let's return to the front hall and wait. It's dangerous at the main entrance. As they neared the main entrance, the sounds of horse hooves and footsteps grew louder. Su Dingheng was so scared he wanted to shrink away. Chapter 7:12. Chu Yihan proposes marriage. You're useless. You're Yingxue's biological father. She's in danger, yet you ignored her comfort and kept retreating. You're simply embarrassing me. Su Qingji halted, grabbed Su Dingheng by the collar, and tossed him onto the grass. Ouch! Su Dingheng stumbled, feeling pain all over his body. His expression was one of sheer frustration. Muttering behind the crowd, he grumbled. Worried? I should have the ability to worry about her. Anyone by her side can take on 100 men. Who could harm her? Instead of worrying about Su Yingxue, he might as well worry about when his bones would fall apart. Forced by circumstances, Su Dingheng had no choice but to follow Su Qingji to the main entrance. However, they hadn't even made it outside when the door was blocked. Even Su Yingxue found herself trapped at the entrance, unable to leave. Dressed in red attire, and wielding a red jade soft whip, Su Yingxue stood tall and heroic at the entrance. Her beautiful eyes held a hint of confusion as she noticed the neatly lined-up army at the Marquis Manor entrance. Wasn't that the Black Cloud Cavalry? What were they doing here? Where was Chu Yihan? Yingxue, come back. Su Qingji hurriedly called out. She was standing too close to the door. If something happened, he wouldn't be able to protect her. Understanding Su Qingji's concern, Su Yingxue returned to his side. However, with a gentle expression, she reassured him. Grandpa, don't worry. It was Your Highness Black Cloud Cavalry at the door. Black Cloud Cavalry. Su Qingji narrowed his eyes. He naturally knew about the Black Cloud Cavalry, the elite soldiers and fierce generals brought out by Chu Yihan. If they were here, the earlier commotion wouldn't be surprising. But why wasn't Chu Yihan with them? What was happening between Chu Yihan and the palace? Your Highness has arrived. Emochi shouted from outside. Chu Yihan appeared in a purple gold robe, towering and commanding. The moment he appeared, all eyes were on him. Even Su Xinlan and her daughter, who were hiding in the side hall, sneaked out to take a look. Zhenzhen's eyes widened in shock. Is that the 9th prince? Su Xinlan snorted. Yes. She still remembered the lesson Chu Yihan had given her, her mouth wound still not fully healed. What a handsome man. Zhenzhen was captivated. No. The man before her couldn't be described as merely handsome. Such a mundane word didn't do him justice. He was a lofty immortal, descending to earth with the dignity of looking down on everyone. But as he approached, the air filled with a bloody scent. Like a demon. His face, akin to a seductive spider lily, carried a deadly allure. Yihan descended the steps with the Qingfeng sword at his left side, and a jade box made of frosted white jade in his right hand. As he reached Su Yingxue, a faint smile graced his handsome face. Su Yingxue's heart skipped a beat. The man before her was too dazzling, instantly captivating her senses. I kneel in greeting. Su Qingji saw what Yihan held and immediately knelt. Since he had knelt, the others, although confused, followed suit. For a moment, apart from Yihan, Su Yingxue was the only one standing. Su Qingji softly reprimanded. Yingxue, that's the royal seal. Hurry and kneel. What? The royal seal? It was only then that Su Yingxue reacted. She hurriedly prepared to kneel. But Yihan grabbed her arm, steadying her. No need to kneel. I've come to propose to you. Chapter 7:13. He brought the empire to him. What's going on here? Everyone was shocked as if they had been struck by lightning. Your Highness, you've just returned from forcing abdication. And now you're already proposing marriage with the imperial seal? Is this acceptable? Su Yingxue thought to herself. Old General Su, I've fulfilled all your requests. Now, with the most precious possession, I propose marriage to Yingxue. I've long admired Su Yingxue and wished to make her my one and only princess. Yihan handed the imperial seal to Su Qingji. This impact couldn't be underestimated. He succeeded. Having already convinced Xiao Yu and defeated Qin Muyan, he had even obtained the imperial seal through his efforts. Su Qingji felt both joyous and burdened. The imperial seal was indeed precious, making him hesitate to rise from his seat. Your Highness, why propose marriage with the imperial seal? Su Yingxue bit her lip, concerned about Yihan's well-being in the palace. Yihan gently held her hands. My status remains unchanged, but what I offer you is a vast kingdom. He lifted the imperial seal high for everyone to see clearly. As his betrothal gift, it symbolized the vast territory of the great Qing dynasty, his supreme power, and everything he possessed. I wouldn't dare. Your Highness, Yingxue is just a woman. How could she accept such a vast kingdom? Su Dingheng trembled with fear. Su Yingxue was more unsettling than her mother. She can accept whatever I offer her. There's nothing she can't take. Yihan declared firmly, his voice resounding. Handing the imperial seal to Su Yingxue, he asked with a smile, Are you pleased? Su Yingxue's heart surged with emotion. How should she respond? Pleased? No, it was far from sufficient to describe her feelings. She was excited, touched, and overwhelmed by Yihan's gestures. Her eyes glistened. Your Highness. This affection ran deep. Yingxue, if you wish to accept it since your Highness has offered it, then do so. Su Qingji, still kneeling, reminded Su Yingxue. Quickly wiping her tears, Su Yingxue asked, Grandfather, may I? The imperial seal was unlike anything else. Her mother's diary didn't even mention it. Ask yourself. If you desire it, there's no reason not to accept. Su Qingji's expression softened. Su Yingxue smiled radiantly, bringing warmth to the bleak winter day. Even the cold wind seemed to relent. Su Han, amazed by Su Yingxue's beauty, stood beside Yihan in a red dress, like a noble rose. Only someone like Yihan was worthy of her. Seeing Su Yingxue holding the imperial seal, Su Han bowed with a smile. Greetings, future princess consort. As she finished, she reminded everyone that Su Yingxue had accepted Yihan's proposal. She was the future 9th princess consort. I pay respects to the future princess consort. Salutations, future princess consort. Everyone in the Marquis Manor, including the Black Cloud cavalry and soldiers behind Yihan, knelt and paid homage. Their voices reverberated, spreading throughout the Marquis residence, the streets, and all of Jiangdu City. On this day, everyone learned that the 9th prince, Yihan, had pledged Su Yingxue to be his future 9th princess consort. How commanding! Chapter 7:14. He would never let down his deep feelings. As the night grew darker, yellow leaves drifted from the branches, carrying a hint of melancholy and desolation. They fell to the ground, crumbling into ash. While they should have mirrored the loneliness, they were now cast into a festive light by the red lanterns. Tonight, the Marquis Manor glowed with red lights, exuding an air of celebration. With Su Qingzi's approval, Su Yingxue was now the awaited princess consort, a status both precious and enviable. Su Han, assisting in the manor's preparations, was especially attentive. She adorned the surroundings with red lanterns and arranged for a feast. This evening's banquet was in honor of Chu Yihan and Su Yingxue's engagement. The calm in Jiangdu city upon Chu Yihan's departure from the palace suggested he had not acted out of line. Even with the imperial seal in hand, he still regarded himself as the ninth prince, a fact that greatly pleased Su Qingzi. Even though Chu Mingyuan still occupied the dragon throne, in Su Qingzi's eyes, Chu Yihan was a more fitting and wiser ruler. In the main hall, Su Han had already set up the banquet. Su Qingzi, seeing no sign of Su Yingxue and Chu Yihan, worriedly inquired, "Where are your Highness and Yingxue?" "They're in the medicine hut," Su Han replied. "Your Highness is injured, and Yingxue is tending to him." Su Qingzi nodded. "In that case we shouldn't rush them. Your Highness' recovery is paramount." Chu Yihan had shown his sincerity and had already been acknowledged as a grandson-in-law. Su Qingzi's attitude toward him had changed, becoming more caring. "Father, forgive me for speaking out, but even though the engagement has been agreed upon, how can we allow Yingxue to administer medicine to your Highness? We cannot summon other physicians to the Marquis Manor, nor can we spare servants to attend to your Highness," Su Xinlan said. Amidst the joyous atmosphere, there always had to be a spoilsport. Su Xinlan's words were venomous. Her words caused a shift in everyone's expressions. According to etiquette, Chu Yihan's actions today had shocked the court, enough to warrant execution. But no one could touch him. Furthermore, even though Su Yingxue was a fiancée, she shouldn't be overly familiar. Administering medicine required disrobing and physical contact, a situation difficult to fathom. And, besides being our Su family's daughter and your Highness' fiancé, Yingxue is also an exceptional physician. Her administering medicine to your Highness isn't as a future princess, but as a doctor. What's wrong with doctors doing their utmost to treat patients? Moreover, your Highness is the god of war of our great Qing dynasty, with a noble and prominent status. Are we to let him go without the skilled physician Yingxue, and instead use a less capable one? Wouldn't that be seen as neglecting your Highness? With her eloquence as a former regional princess, Su Han could easily outdo Su Xinlan. Her words not only dispelled any doubts about Su Yingxue, but also served as a rebuke to Su Xinlan, showcasing what it meant to be considerate. Su Xinlan was simply causing trouble. Su Xinlan felt aggrieved, glaring at Su Han. That little wench. Relying on her few years as a regional princess and some silver tongue, she dared to humiliate her aunt like this. What a despicable person. Sister Han is right. She was indeed the former Yangon County princess consort. She must have been just as articulate when she was in the regional prince's mansion with Madame Sheng and the Mingyuan County lord. That's why they were exiled 3,000 miles away, right? Besides Su Xinlan, Zhenzhen stifled a laugh. With just a few words, she exposed Su Han's vulnerability, leaving Su Han feeling stifled. Chapter 7:15. Slapping Zhenzhen. Su Xinlan, keep a close eye on your daughter. Su Qingzi expressed strong displeasure when Su Han's past was brought up by someone in the mansion. Since Zhenzhen was a descendant of the Chongqing Marquis Manor and held the title of county lord, he refrained from reprimanding her directly. Instead, he issued a warning to Su Xinlan. Zhenzhen gritted her teeth after the reprimand. She noted how protective Su Qingzi was of her. Under Su Qingzi's protection, the embarrassment on Su Han's face disappeared instantly, and she continued to manage the mansion's affairs gracefully. Su Han even served Zhenzhen a cup of tea personally, displaying her graceful demeanor. Zhenzhen glanced at Su Han's elegant smile, feeling a twinge of jealousy. If she could garner her grandfather's favor like Su Han, her future status would undoubtedly be higher. With these thoughts in mind, she stood up and bowed to Su Qingji. I spoke out of turn earlier. Please don't blame me, grandfather. Both mother and I were only considering the reputation of our Marquis Manor, hence our careless words. I apologize to you, grandfather. She bowed her head, displaying sincere remorse. If Su Qingji's other granddaughters had offended Su Han, he might have overlooked it if they apologized. However, Zhenzhen was Su Zinlin's daughter, and Su Qingji didn't favor her. Hence he coldly remarked, no need to apologize to me. Go apologize to Hainer. If Zhenzhen were willing to apologize to Su Han, it would show her compliance, and Su Qingji might view her more favorably. But instead Zhenzhen stood up, gave Su Han a cold glance, and returned to Su Zinlin's side without apologizing. Su Qingji snorted disdainfully. Indeed, she wasn't a good influence. Grandpa, there's no need for this. Hainer doesn't mind. Su Han reassured him. Besides Su Qingji, Su Han smiled gently. Her refined and graceful demeanor remained unchanged. Su Qingji chuckled and patted her hand. Today Su Yingxue's marriage had been settled grandly. In the future he would have to find a suitable match for Su Han. Seeing Zhenzhen being treated coldly, Su Xinlan hugged her tenderly. My dear, it's not your fault. It's just that the people here don't understand the rules. You did nothing wrong. You always have my support. Mother, I can't stand being treated like this, Zhenzhen murmured, feeling aggrieved. She had never been reprimanded by an elder like this before. She felt humiliated. Who did Su Han think she was? Moreover, Su Yingxue hadn't even made an appearance yet. With these thoughts swirling in her mind, Zhenzhen quietly slipped out. Su Han noticed her movements and instructed Jifan to follow her. When Jifan returned, she whispered to Su Han. Miss Zhenzhen went to the medicine hut secretly. Su Han frowned slightly, considering Zhenzhen's character. She feared that Zhenzhen might cause trouble for Su Yingxue, so she asked Jifan to stay put, and went to find Zhenzhen alone. Zhenzhen was skulking around in front of the medicine hut, intending to sneak a peek at what Su Yingxue was doing inside. However, someone grabbed her wrist. Su Han chuckled softly. What are you up to, Zhenzhen? This isn't the place for you. Come with me to the front hall, next to Grandpa. Zhenzhen was startled by Su Han's words. She broke free and glared at her. How dare you, she exclaimed. You think you can treat the county lord however you want? Don't forget your place. You're just a discarded wife. She thought that calling Su Han a discarded wife would put her in her place, but Su Han smiled and retorted, Sister, you're not even married yet. How do you know the term discarded wife? It slipped out quite naturally. Do you have some personal experience? Chapter 7:16. Good Sister Su Han Yu. Zhenzhen felt humiliated and immediately retorted. Nonsense. Do you think everyone is like you? You're just a discarded woman kicked out of the house by someone. Now you're clinging on to your maternal family. With your maternal grandfather backing you up, you should go back to him and mind your own business. Pa. Just as Zhenzhen finished speaking arrogantly, she received a hard slap on her face. The sky was too dark for her to see the other party. She covered her face in horror and retreated. You hit me. I hit you. What's wrong? Don't convince? Su Yingxue swung her wrist, and was about to give her a second slap. People like Zhenzhen deserve to be slapped just like her mother. If she didn't do anything, her hands would not allow it. With the help of the lights in the corridor, Zhenzhen saw that it was Su Yingxue who hit her. She was furious. Su Yingxue, I'm your sister. How dare you hit me? As she spoke, she wanted to return the slap to Su Yingxue, but her wrist happened to land in front of Su Yingxue. Su Yingxue grabbed her wrist and placed it behind her back, making her kneel in front of her. She slapped her face heavily twice, and each time, a crisp sound could be heard. Alt! Zhenzhen screamed as tears welled up in her eyes. Su Yingxue pinched her arm and forced her to turn around to face Su Han. Sister, do you want to vent your anger? Su Han frowned. To be honest, when Su Yingxue hit Zhenzhen, she also wanted to be as free and easy as Su Yingxue. She wanted to get revenge for herself. However, her upbringing and thinking of the big picture made her resist this impulse. She shook her head. Sister, let her go. Otherwise, it won't look good in front of Grandpa. Yingxue did not mind. Grandpa knows right from wrong. He won't blame us for dealing with someone like her. Although that's the case, today is your wedding day. Don't let her ruin your happiness. Han said as she rescued Zhenzhen from Yingxue's hands. Go back to your mother. If you don't want to embarrass yourself, you can pretend that nothing happened. Impossible. I want to tell mother, father, and grandfather so that they can help me. Zhenzhen covered her face and cried. She had never suffered such grievances in the entire Chongqing Marquis Manor. Is that so? At that time, we will tell grandfather what your intentions are for sneaking into the medicine hut. Do you know that 9th Prince is healing here? Han raised her eyebrows, and a sharp glint appeared in her eyes. Zhenzhen's heart skipped a beat. How did Han know her intention? She just wanted to see if she could get close to 9th Prince. You're talking nonsense. She ran away in a hurry. Yingxue felt bored. I thought she was more capable than her mother. Han patted her hand and said, don't underestimate her. Did you see her panic when I mentioned 9th Prince? That's a tacit agreement. Zhenzhen had evil intentions. Yingxue rubbed her head. I didn't think of that. She thought that Zhenzhen was just a troublemaker. I'm afraid you're too tired today. Where's 9th Prince? Han hugged her with heartache. Yingxue leaned against her and said softly, Your Highness is resting. I'm still brewing medicine for him. Sister, go and tell Grandpa that I won't be going to the front hall. I'm very worried about your Highness and want to spend more time with him. Chapter 717. I'm responsible for him. Only when facing Han could Yingxue express her thoughts so frankly and act coquettishly. Han gently patted her head and said, Okay, I'll handle this. You stay with 9th Prince. I won't let anyone disturb you anymore. After Yingxue finished her playful banter with Han went to the front hall. Despite Han's unpleasant past experiences, she was still a capable stewardess. With her presence in the front hall, Yingxue returned to the medicine hut feeling at ease. Yihan lay on the soft couch. The strong scent of blood and medicine on his body was heart-wrenching no matter how one smelled it. Yingxue brought over the medicine. When Yihan tried to sit up to drink it, Yingxue gently pushed him back down. Stay down. Don't move. Yihan chuckled softly. Yes, Princess Consort. Though he was seriously injured, he couldn't resist teasing Yingxue. Under the glow of the luminous pearl, Yingxue's charming face became even more radiant. She pouted, her heart aching. You're so badly injured. Yet you refused to stop for me to take care of you before entering the palace. Yihan knew he could treat his injuries later, but he had to seize the moment to deal a fatal blow to Mingyuan. That was why he insisted on going. Seeing Yingxue's worried expression, Yihan pinched her tender face. I'll try not to get hurt in the future. What do you mean try? You're not allowed. If you get injured again, especially this badly, I won't be your doctor anymore. I'll let someone else treat you. You will get pain. As Yingxue vented her frustration, she gently fed Yihan the medicine. She couldn't help but feel frightened when she saw the arrow and veins on Yihan's leg frozen together. If she didn't know how to perform surgery, Yihan might have lost his leg. Yihan pursed his lips. He probably couldn't promise Yingxue that. The country was still unstable, and hidden dangers lurked everywhere. It was impossible for him not to get injured while guarding the country. The only promise he could give Yingxue was, I'll do my best. Yingxue sighed heavily. She had no choice but to focus on her medical research. Even if Yihan were to face death in the future, she would bring him back. Who is it? Yihan's sharp senses detected the presence of strangers outside the door, more than one. Yingxue tilted her head and patted his shoulder. Don't worry. It's probably Ziwei. He's back and will protect me. Oh. Yihan's tone carried a hint of displeasure. He didn't like another man protecting Yingxue. He believed he could protect Yingxue alone. Your Highness is unhappy? Su Yingxue brushed the hair from his temples, her eyes gradually becoming infatuated. She couldn't get enough of this handsome man no matter how much she looked at him. The more she looked, the more infatuated she became. Yihan hummed in agreement. I can protect you very well. It's different. I have a responsibility to Ziwei. If I hadn't tricked him out of hiding at the Silver Moon Pavilion, I wouldn't have been able to keep Mother's letter. But since I did, I have to treat him well. He saved my life so many times, so I owe him. I have to help him return to a normal life. Su Yingxue's words sounded a bit naive. The corners of Chu Yihan's mouth curled up slightly. You can cure his poison, but returning to a normal life might not be possible. It was impossible for someone accustomed to killing and bloodshed to put down the knife and live a peaceful life. It was as difficult as reshaping one's entire life. Chapter 7:18. Suppress the two princes. Su Yingxue pressed her face against Chu Yihan's and snorted. I'm unstoppable. I'll make it happen. Cure Ziwei and let him live like a normal person. Yes, you can do anything. Chu Yihan felt helpless. So there's another Qin Muyan outside the door. Are you responsible for him too? The Scarlet Flame King? Su Yingxue hurriedly stood up and opened the door. As expected, there was a tall and mighty man standing at the door. His well-defined facial features looked especially strong under the moonlight. Qin Muyan looked past her and walked to Chu Yihan. Are you okay? Chu Yihan's voice sounded a little lazy. You're still alive. It'll be fine. Ha! Chu Yihan, I should have stabbed you in the back yesterday, Qin Muyan snorted. Chu Yihan's tone was so rude. He regretted leaving such an opponent for himself. You want? Yesterday, you would rather die to save me. I must keep this life and continue to compete with you. Even though Chu Yihan was lying down, his aura wasn't weak. His cold and noble demeanor made people respect him even more. Qin Muyan's injuries were more serious than his, but his eyes lit up. I will wait for you to recover and fight again. A victor must be determined. I can choose not to fight in this lifetime. But you, Chu Yihan, I must defeat. Chu Yihan nodded. Sure, but there's one thing. Yingxue is already my princess consort. You don't have a chance. Today he had used the imperial seal as a betrothal gift. Su Yingxue had accepted it, and old General Su had also agreed. His marriage with Su Yingxue was set in stone. No matter what Qin Muyan did, he could not change this fact. Qin Muyan punched Chu Yihan hard. What are you showing off for? It's not even the day of the wedding yet. How come I don't have a chance? Cough. Chu Yihan had been holding his breath since the beginning. Qin Muyan's punch caused him to cough out a mouthful of blood. Your Highness. Su Yingxue rushed to his side and pushed Qin Muyan away. She gave him a heart protection pill and glared at Qin Muyan. Scarlet Flame King, if you dare to touch your Highness again, I'll make sure that you won't be able to walk out of this medicine hut. Qin Muyan was speechless. It was a little sudden. Why did he feel that Chu Yihan was so cheap? Chu Yihan, are you pretending? I only use so much strength, and you're already vomiting blood. Qin Muyan was very competitive, especially when it came to his opponent. He was about to pick Chu Yihan up and examine him. Su Yingxue stabbed a needle into his hand. Qin Muyan let go of his hand in pain. He clenched his fists and gritted his teeth. Chu Yihan, stop pretending. Get up and fight me if you dare. Watch me smash your face. He deserved it. Chu Yihan sat up on the bed and his expression became serious. You can fight, but write a letter to the king of Great Wei Dynasty immediately. If you die at my hands, you cannot start a war at the border. Qin Muyan couldn't stand goading her. I'll write it. He rolled up his sleeves and was about to find a pen and paper when Wei Ju rushed in to stop him. Your Highness, you can't write. You can't write it. If he wrote this and sent it back, he would lose his life. Miss Su, please persuade Ninth Prince. Wei Ju could only ask Su Yingxue for help. They were all for Su Yingxue. She could solve it with a word. No one is allowed to fight here, or I'll kick them all out. Su Yingxue's eyes widened in anger. When a beauty was angry, her beauty was soul-stirring, but no one dared to ignore her power. Chapter 7:19. And Qin Muyan Su Yingxue added, "Both of you are my patients now. Do you know the consequences of offending a doctor? Qin Muyan, do you still want to hold a sword in your hand? Yihan, do you still want your legs?" Qin Muyan kept a straight face and stopped talking. Yihan's face was cold, and he fell silent. Wei Ju secretly gave Su Yingxue a thumbs up. He thought secretly, "Miss Su, you're my idol." After arranging Yihan on the bed, Su Yingxue wanted to send Qin Muyan back. Yihan grabbed her hand. "There's someone with him. Why are you going? There are still some medicines in the clinic for the Scarlet Flame King. Oh, go and get them." The clinic was her private property, so she definitely wouldn't let Wei Ju in. Therefore, even though Yihan was unwilling, he could only agree to her request. He couldn't remind Su Yingxue to come back early. That would make him seem petty. Qin Muyan couldn't see through Yihan's thoughts. He only felt that this fellow was too hateful. Before he left, he deliberately said harshly to him, "Yihan, you'd better recover quickly. Even if you're Yingxue's future husband, I won't show you mercy. You're also someone who needs to recuperate. Don't talk so much nonsense." It was unpleasant to look at. When Qin Muyan and Su Yingxue came out, he was still exhorting Su Yingxue, "You must cure Yihan so that he doesn't have any old injuries on his body. Only then can I fight him fair and square." Do you have to compete? Is winning or losing that important? The corners of Su Yingxue's mouth twitched. It seemed that the two critically ill patients that she had painstakingly cured would have to fight to the death in the future. It was too difficult for her to be a doctor. Qin Muyan told her firmly, "Yes. This is something 1am determined to do. I will compete with Yihan in this life." "Is it more important to compete with your highness or to marry me?" Su Yingxue raised her eyebrows. Qin Muyan answered subconsciously, "It's more important to compete with him." Wei Ju shivered. "Your highness, you can't say that." Wei Ju thought to himself but remained silent. "If you like Miss Su, you have to express that she's the most important person in your heart." Su Yingxue immediately felt at ease. "It seems like I'm not that important to your highness." This way, she felt less guilty. After all, Yihan and Qin Muyan had fought because of her. Qin Muyan grabbed her shoulder and held it tightly, making her feel the heat in his palm. "Yingxue, this is different. I like you and won't marry anyone but you. This is the determination of feelings. However, Yihan is the opponent that I care about the most and want to conquer the most in my life. Competing with him is my lifelong ambition. I can never marry you, but I can't let go of the chance to have a fair duel with Yihan." The chilly night wind blew past, and Su Yingxue should have been surrounded by coldness. However, she felt that Qin Muyan was the one who brought her warmth. He had such a passionate heart. It was clean and bright with a pure heart. He was tenacious and knew what he wanted and what he had to do. He was strong, clear-headed, and a hero of the world, worthy of respect. Su Yingxue smiled slightly. "I admire the Scarlet Flame King's magnanimity. I don't wish for you to remain unmarried for the rest of your life because of me. I only hope that your wish will come true, and that you will meet a woman with a pure heart in the future, so that we can grow old together." "No, I can't. I only want to grow old with you." Qin Muyan's eyes filled with determination. Cold and aloof, jealous Su Yingxue couldn't help but laugh. Qin Muyan was persistent. However, his persistence was adorable, and it didn't cause any annoyance. She gave Qin Muyan the medicine, and then returned to Yihan's side. As she entered the room, she caught sight of Ziwei. He was accustomed to lurking in the darkness, not showing himself or causing any disturbance. But whenever she was in danger, he would immediately stand in front of her. That sense of security was truly comforting. Su Yingxue smiled at him. In the darkness, Ziwei's cold heart skipped a beat. Her smile was so beautiful. Being by Yihan's side made him less icy. When he wasn't sleepy, he would engage in casual conversation with her. As they discussed the palace's situation that day, Su Yingxue gained insight into Yihan's thoughts. She understood why he hadn't seized the throne, and instead allowed Mingyuan to sit on it. It was his way of punishing Mingyuan. However, the Empress' behavior surprised Su Yingxue. Seated at the head of the bed, with her right hand interlocked with Chu Yihan's left, Su Yingxue asked, "Why did she go to the imperial study today? Isn't she afraid you'll kill her?" The empress must be afraid of death, especially of Chu Yihan. She wasn't looking for the imperial brother, Chu Yihan replied calmly. She was looking for her son. Her son? Speaking of Chu Qingye, I wonder if he's still alive. Should I go take a look? Suddenly, Su Yingxue remembered poisoning Chu Qingye. Could he be dead now? The poison was potent, and if a person had weak willpower, they might succumb to the torment and end their suffering. Don't go. Chu Yihan pressed her down, his strength domineering. What does his life and death have to do with you? Do you still want to see him? The last question carried a dangerous tone. It sent shivers down Su Yingxue's arms. Shaking her head, she said, "No, let him be. It wouldn't be a loss if he dies anyway." Su Yingxue's indifferent attitude reassured Chu Yihan. His smile deepened. "What are you laughing at, Your Highness? I don't care if Chu Qingye lives or dies. Are you that happy?" Su Yingxue couldn't understand. Chu Yihan nodded. "Yes. Ever since you fell in love with him, I've wanted to kill him for a long time." Su Yingxue was shocked. Really? Chu Qingye was Chu Yihan's nephew after all. Was the imperial uncle so ruthless? "When he made you cry, I broke his leg," Chu Yihan mentioned casually. Su Yingxue recalled the incident and slapped her thigh. "So it was Your Highness doing back then." 2 years ago, she had confessed her feelings to Chu Qingye, urged by Su Yuro. Chu Qingye publicly embarrassed her by rejecting her. She returned home in tears. A few days later, she heard that Chu Qingye had broken his leg while riding a horse. So it wasn't an accident. Someone was jealous. Su Yingxue touched Chu Yihan's face, feeling extremely sweet in her heart. Despite his high and aloof appearance, he was truly attractive. He loved her so much. The night was still young, and she fell asleep leaning against Chu Yihan as he slept beside her. Later in the night, Su Qingji came to check on them. Su Wei followed behind him. They reached the door and saw Su Yingxue and Chu Yihan asleep on the bed. Su Wei immediately spoke up. "Master, isn't this against the rules? After all, Miss and Your Highness haven't." Su Qingji interrupted him with a push and took him outside. He instructed Jilan to close the door and guard the medicine hut, not allowing any servants from the residence to approach. A different woman, Jilan was exceptionally meticulous. Su Qingji left with Su Wei. Su Wei wanted to say something but hesitated a few times. However, seeing Su Qingji's relaxed appearance, he did not say anything else. When they reached the ancestral hall, Su Qingji spoke. "Ah Wei, do you think that I didn't let Yingxue follow the rules like the other children?" Su Wei nodded subconsciously. Although General has agreed to 9th Prince's proposal, and his marriage with Miss Yingxue has been decided, they are not married yet. Miss' reputation is more important. If it were any other granddaughter, Hainer or Miao Miao, I would chase the person on the bed away and punish them. Su Qingji's stern expression didn't seem like he was joking. However, he had also said that if it was anyone else, Su Yingxue was not included. This was indulgence and favoritism toward Su Yingxue. "General, you didn't object to 9th Prince and Miss Yingxue being together. You just wanted to see how sincere 9th Prince was to Miss Yingxue, and which one he would choose in the future." Su Wei pointed out the main point. This was Su Qingji's painstaking effort, and he didn't know if Su Yingxue would understand. Su Qingji stroked his beard. "I've never been dissatisfied with the 9th Prince. It's just that the royal family is complicated, and his identity is no different from the Emperor. Look, even the Emperor can't do anything to him with the imperial seal that he brought today. That's why I let him compete with Xiao Yu and Qin Muyan." Young Master Xiao was easily persuaded by the 9th Prince because he wanted to marry the Miss for the sake of his family. The Scarlet Flame King was defeated by his loyalty. If he would stab the 9th Prince in the back, he would have won. "But I will not let Yingxue marry him. How can I entrust my life to a disloyal and unjust person?" Su Qingji snorted. However, he was very lucky. These 3 people who liked Su Yingxue were all loyal and outstanding people. Su Yingxue had also chosen the person she loved. His heart was extremely at ease. When Su Wei saw Su Qingji like this, he couldn't help but think of how he treated Long Shuli. He smiled and said, "The general's treatment of Miss Yingxue isn't any worse than the second madam. However, Miss Yingxue is not bold enough to pull your beard." Su Qingji was stunned for a moment. He touched his beard, which was not long, and instantly thought of Long Shuli's action. She always said that his body was good and his beard could be used as medicine. She secretly wanted to cut it. If the hard way didn't work, then the soft way. She didn't even know how much of his beard he had made her grow. When the hard way didn't work, she resorted to the soft approach. He couldn't count how many times she had tinkered with his beard. She claimed it could save lives, so sacrificing a bit of beard was no big deal. His beard was always trimmed in half by Long Shuli, leaving it neither long nor short. After Long Shuli left, even as his beard grew longer, he still habitually trimmed it like she used to. That daughter whom he had adored so dearly. Since Yingxue is Shuli's daughter, there's no need to treat her like an ordinary woman. If she looks like Shuli, then so be it. This was how Su Qingji viewed Su Yingxue. Long Shuli was a little fairy who had fallen into their world by mistake. He had never reprimanded her for changing her, but she had instead changed her. Now there was still Su Yingxue. She was also a different girl. Then he must protect her like he protected Shuli. He would not change her. As long as he let her do what she wanted to do. She and Ninth Prince won't do anything out of line. If they do, no one can say anything when they become husband and wife. When Su Yingxue was mentioned, Su Qingzi's eyes were filled with love. Chapter 722. Through Su Jinxuan's tricks, Su Wei didn't say anything else, simply smiling beside Su Qingji. They sat in the ancestral hall for a while longer before Su Wei received the news. "General, he's back." The affection in Su Qingzi's eyes instantly vanished, replaced by an unfathomable gaze. "Bring him here." "Yes, sir." Su Wei immediately went to Su Jinxuan's courtyard. Su Jinxian had narrowly escaped death and finally returned. Before he could even apply the golden wound medicine, he was dragged away by Su Wei. "Deputy General Su, what are you doing? I'm the young master of the residence. Why are you treating me like this?" Su Jinxian had fought for a day and a night, exhausted from his efforts to escape from Chu Yihan's shadow guards. Little did he know, there was such a heavy trap waiting for him here. He had thought that with Su Yingxue around, the Marquis Manor would be the most dangerous yet safest place. Su Wei forcefully dragged him to the ancestral hall and threw him in. Bang! The sound of his body hitting the ground echoed. Su Jinxuan's evil eyes darkened. Seeing Su Qingji standing tall like a pine tree, he subconsciously wanted to kill the old man. He was so biased towards Su Yingxue. And now, they had captured him and brought him here. But if he wanted to live, he couldn't afford to offend him now. He got up and knelt, putting on a very obedient look. "Grandfather, I'm sorry for worrying you with my injuries. I'm unfilial. In front of me, how long do you intend to keep up this act, little brat?" Su Qingji walked up to him, pressing his powerful palm on Su Jinxuan's shoulder. Su Jinxian immediately felt like his shoulder was about to break. Alt! It hurt. This was where he had been stabbed, so deep that it reached the bone. It was the most serious wound he had sustained. Su Jinxuan's eyes filled with deep hatred. Damn old man. He had barely escaped with his life, only to be met with this kind of treatment. "Su Qingji, you old fart. Your injuries are not light, yet you still know how to cry out in pain, you little brat." Su Qingji took the handkerchief from Su Wei and wiped the blood off his hands. "Grandfather, your grandson is injured and suffering. I hope you'll let me heal first. Otherwise, if my injuries worsen, I'll have no choice but to leave you." Su Jinxuan's rational mind told him that Su Qingji was cunning and wise. He could only feign vulnerability to gain his sympathy. After all, he was an old fox. But Su Qingzi's reaction always caught him off guard. "Even if you died in front of our ancestors, there would be nothing to regret. Having an unfilial descendant like you is a disgrace to the Su family. You deserve to die." Su Qingzi's tone was stern. Su Jinxuan's heart trembled violently, a wave of humiliation washing over him. Subconsciously, he gripped the short knife at his waist. "Su Qingji, you old fart. What, You still want to kill me? Go ahead, give it a try. Su Qingji said domineeringly. Su Jinxian clenched his teeth tightly, suppressing the urge to act. He lowered his head, not letting his emotions show. I wouldn't dare. Even if you wanted my life, I wouldn't complain. If you were a true man of the Su family, you wouldn't resort to such insincere speech. Learn from your mother's fake ways. Su Qingji pointed at him in disgust. If you had dared to attack me just now, I would have respected you as a man. But you didn't dare. You only know how to scheme behind people's backs, colluding with the 7th prince to harm Yingxue and the 9th prince. Su Jinxian, have you no shame? Chapter 723. The difference is so great. Su Jinxuan's muscles spasmed violently. He raised his head, his eyes full of shock. Su Qingji, you know everything. He had disguised himself so well, and was so careful when he went out. Even Su Yingxue and the assassin around her did not notice him, but Su Qingji knew about it. You know everything. Su Jinxian couldn't hide his astonishment. Of course I know everything. There is not a single corner in the Marquis of Marshall South's manor that can escape my eyes. Su Qingji replied calmly. Su Qingji snorted coldly. When you returned to the residence, I told you that if you were to be a descendant of the Su family, you would have a title. But not only were you not at ease, you even plotted against your eldest sister, colluded with the imperial family, and attempted to rebel. Su Jinxian, you're not worthy of being a descendant of the Su family until you die. Why? Why am I not worthy? Su Jinxian stood up despite his injuries. Blood splattered all over his face. In front of the candlelight, his dark eyes were filled with anger and unwillingness. Just because my mother didn't enter the residence, my father was weak and incompetent, and am not a legitimate son, I don't deserve the surname Su? Why? He pointed at the memorial tablets that filled the ancestral hall and roared. They are all surnamed Su. They can be worshipped here after death, and have a home to return to. But what about me? My surname is also Su, and am also of the Su family's bloodline. However, I've never entered the Su family's door openly since I was young, and I've never had a good meal with the Su family. Why should I be treated like this? Why should my mother and sister die tragically? Because you have evil intentions and insulted the Su family. Su Qingji pointed at Su Jinxian. Back then, your mother used dirty methods to give birth to you and your sister. She even persecuted the mistress of the Marquis Manor. This is already an additional crime. Considering that the two of you are of the Su family's bloodline, I did not kill her. But how did she do it? Deceiving your father and letting your sister enter the manor. How many troubles have you caused in Marquis Manor? How many schemes have you schemed against my 2 legitimate grandsons? 2 legitimate grandsons? Su Jinxuan's cold face had a mocking smile on it. We're both grandsons, but you're always biased towards Su Hao and Su Yingxue. Do you think of me and my sister as the descendants of the Su family again? Presumptuous. Young master, how dare you speak to old master like this? Su Wei berated. He had fought with Su Qingji for many years, but he had never dared to be so arrogant in front of Su Qingji. Shut up and let him speak. Today, I will make him understand. Su Qingji chased Su Wei out and faced Su Jinxian calmly. Your birth and your sister's was a mistake. I truly hate a sinister person like your mother. However, you're both descendants of the Su family. It's not that I don't take you and your sister seriously. It's just that you and your sister have evil intentions and are disappointing. Su Qingji recounted in detail. When your sister entered the family, I treated her and Yingxue together, but she secretly instigated Yingxue to harm Hauer and even stole Yingxue's things. She was even more jealous of her identity, and repeatedly used your father to frame her. This was her doing. You grew up outside, and I have looked for a teacher and master for you. But you refused to accept them. You insisted on learning unorthodox ways and evil martial arts. Later on, you even acknowledged Wu Dao as your master. This is your doing. Your father has 4 children, Su Hao and Yingxue. They are the children of Shuli. Now Su Hao is a general, guarding bamboo leaf paths for the country. As a doctor, Yingxue was benevolent and had saved tens of thousands of patients in Jiangdu City. You're all descendants of the Su family. I've given you the same chance, but the difference between you is so great. Cripple his martial arts. The children of two different mothers grew up so differently. Su Jinxian couldn't listen to Su Qingzi's reasoning. There was only resentment in his heart. This is all caused by your bias. Why didn't you bring me back then? Why must I be looked down upon and ridiculed outside? It's all your fault. Do you think I don't want to be like Su Hao? I don't have the chance. Even if I bring you back, you won't be able to become Su Hao. When you and Su Hao entered the military camp together, I was 100 times stricter with Su Hao than you. Have you forgotten how you entered the military camp? It was your father who used money and connections to put you in. Su Qingzi gave him a stern warning. You have your parents' favoritism, but Su Hao only has me, his grandfather, who is strict with him. If you are jealous, why don't you dare to compete with Su Hao in the arena? This is because you don't dare. You know you're inferior. Su Jinxian held his head and covered his ears as if he couldn't hear Su Qingzi. No. It's not like that. I'm not inferior to Su Hao. It is your unfairness that caused today's situation. If I were also the son of the Marquis Manor, if I also had a noble status, There are no it's. Everything has been placed in front of you. You chose the wrong path. Now, you have to bear the consequences yourself. Su Qingzi's last sentence was sincere, and even carried a trace of reluctance. Su Jinxian sensed danger. He touched the short knife at his waist and stood up. What do you want? Old man, I'm warning you if you... Alt. Su Wei hurried in from outside. He thought that Su Qingzi was injured, but he didn't expect to see the scene of him capturing Su Jinxian. Su Jinxian thought that he was fast enough and sinister enough to stab the poison knife into Su Qingzi's body. However, Su Qingzi did not even give him the chance to pull out his knife. He held his hand down and cut his bone with his backhand. His hands were like dragon claws, crushing his bones and breaking his tendons. Oh! Su Jinxian screamed in pain. Every vein on his face was bulging, and his face turned red. He felt as if all the veins in his body had ruptured, and the blood in his body was running wildly. Every part of his body felt as if it was being cut by a blade. I don't want to die. Su Jinxian fell to the ground with a thud. His limbs kept twitching, and his white eyes were filled with unwillingness. No. I can't die. Su Qingzi's heart ached when he saw him like this. He was his grandson after all. He wiped his eyes, and in the blink of an eye, he became another iron-blooded family head. He told Su Jinxian, the Su family is full of loyalty and will never allow disloyal and unjust people to enter the ancestral hall's genealogy. Now that you've harmed Yingxue and colluded with her to rebel, it'll cripple your martial arts. From now on, if you're willing to stay in the Marquis Manor in peace, you'll have a place. However, if you still want to cause trouble, it'll put righteousness above family and personally tie you up and send you to the 9th prince. No. Su Jinxian let out a heart-wrenching roar. He hated it. He was unwilling. You old fart, you can't do this to me. Why? When Su Jinxian was dragged away, he shouted until his throat was broken. What right did he have to cripple his martial arts? What right did he have to let him stay in the Marquis Manor for the rest of his life as a cripple? Just because he hurt his beloved granddaughter, Su Yingxue? This was unfair. He was also a member of the Su family. Princess Consort was wise. Chu Yihan rested in the Marquis Manor for a day. When he woke up, Su Yingxue informed him that Mochi had arrived. Originally, Su Yingxue didn't want him to exert himself too much, considering his severe injuries, and should rest more. However, Mochi insisted that there were many matters to attend to after the battle, so she reluctantly helped Chu Yihan up. Mochi knelt halfway before Chu Yihan and reported, "The conflict has subsided. The garrison from Yingyan City has returned. The former commander of the Imperial Guards has been executed. The Lan family's guards have dispatched pursuers. As for the 7th prince, he seemed to have begun self-harming due to his delirium. By the time we arrived, he was already a cripple." A cripple? What did he do? Su Yingxue was particularly curious. After all, Chu Qingye had tested the poison for her. He castrated himself, Emochi revealed, causing Su Yingxue's expression to stiffen. He must be unable to cope with the situation, she commented. However, Chu Yihan smirked slightly. In that case, there's no need to be merciless. Send him back to the prince's residence, and assign someone to watch over him. Yes, your highness. Emochi felt his master was strangely gleeful. Su Yingxue was surprised that Chu Yihan spared Chu Qingye's life. After all, Chu Qingye had triggered Chu Yihan's bloodlust, and even led troops to encircle him. Typically, in such a rebellion, the victor would eliminate potential threats. Curiously, Su Yingxue blinked at Chu Yihan. His eyes seemed profound. He's just a cripple. I won't waste my time with him. I'll spare him because he addressed me as imperial uncle. Why do I feel sparing his life is more cruel than killing him? Su Yingxue tilted her head. Emochi thought. Princess Consort, you've caught on. A defeated general stripped of his dignity as a man. What's the point of keeping him alive? Chu Yihan heard Su Yingxue's remark. Instruct those guarding Chu Qingye not to let him commit suicide, he ordered. Emochi clenched his teeth. Yes, master, he replied, feeling his master's ruthlessness. Who will your highness appoint as the new commander of the Imperial Guards? This was a critical military issue that couldn't be left unresolved. Chu Yihan pondered for a moment. You will temporarily assume the role. The Imperial Guards need reorganization. I'll decide after I've recovered. Also, have you found the individual who attacked me that day? On the day they were besieged by Chu Qingye, there was a highly skilled man who plotted against Su Yingxue, exacerbating her bloodthirstiness. He was also associated with Chu Qingye. While Chu Yihan might spare Chu Qingye, he would never spare his accomplice. When Chu Yihan mentioned this, Emochi glanced at Su Yingxue but remained silent for a moment. Feeling Emochi's gaze, Su Yingxue said, Don't tell me you think that person has something to do with me, or is within the Marquis Manor? Emochi nodded vigorously. Princess Consort, you're astute. He's someone from your household. Su Yingxue concluded, rubbing her chin. Although she hadn't seen the person clearly, his slim figure and ruthless attacks hinted at his involvement with her, and his presence within the Marquis Manor. Su Jinxuan. Su Yingxue gritted her teeth. Emochi nodded. Princess Consort, you're wise. He has exceptional lightness skills. The Shadow Guards were on the verge of catching up to him, but once he entered the Marquis Manor, they dared not pursue. Therefore, Chu Yihan's actions against this person would depend on Su Yingxue's response. With a stern expression, Su Yingxue declared, Your Highness, I'll immediately capture him. You can deal with him as you see fit. Su Jinxuan had lingered for too long. She hastened to Su Jinxuan's courtyard, only to find her grandfather had stationed guards there, preventing anyone from entering. Aster, save me. When Su Yingxue tried to enter, Su Wei was notified to come over. He brought Su Yingxue to see Su Jinxuan. Su Jinxuan lay on the bed, looking weak and barely breathing. Su Yingxue lifted his blanket, pinched his bones, and clicked her tongue. He's badly injured. However, they didn't manage to injure Su Jinxuan so severely that day. His current state, with Su Wei present, could only be attributed to Grandpa's actions. Su Wei looked at Su Yingxue. The general knew Miss would come, so he asked me to inquire if Miss was satisfied with this outcome. Can you explain to Ninth Prince? Su Yingxue was naturally dissatisfied. For someone who had tried to harm her several times, becoming a corpse was the safest option. However, after she informed Chu Yihan, he said, Since he's already crippled, I'll spare his life for old General Su's sake. However, Sister Han told me he's Wu Dao's disciple. She wasn't afraid of Su Jinxuan's threat. He was just a cripple now. But Wu Dao, that was the bomb buried in her mind. Wu Dao isn't someone he can command alone, nor someone you can handle alone. Trust me, I'll protect you. Chu Yihan hugged Su Yingxue and patted her back gently. Su Yingxue pursed her lips. All right, for your highness' sake, I'll spare Su Jinxuan's life. After visiting Su Jinxuan, Su Yingxue replied to Su Qingji, considering Chu Yihan's actions as giving Su Qingji a face. Su Qingji personally visited him, and then courteously escorted him out of the Marquis Manor. After Su Yingxue's visit, Su Jinxuan's courtyard became off-limits. Except for those who attended to his meals, no one else was allowed in. He was now just a good-for-nothing who would rely on others for the rest of his life. Indignantly, Su Jinxian lay on the bed. He didn't care what others thought. He knew he wouldn't be so useless. Before his return, he had sent out a signal that his master would come for him. Night fell. The transition from cold autumn to winter, the beginning of frost, and the fine snow added to the chilliness of the night. Dressed in black robes, she pushed open Su Jinxuan's door. Impatiently, Su Jinxian stood up, opened his eyes and shouted excitedly, "Master! Master is finally here! Master, save me!" Wu Dao walked up to Su Jinxian and checked his injuries. His exceptionally cold voice rang out. "Your shoulder blade is shattered, your veins are all broken, and you've lost all your martial skills. You're crippled." Su Jinxian didn't care. He looked at Wu Dao with bright eyes. "Master, your medical skills are much better than Su Yingxue's. You can save me. Master, please save me and let me continue to seek revenge. I promise to kill Su Yingxue." "No need. It's too much trouble to save you. You can't do anything." Wu Dao sneered. Su Jinxian had collaborated with Chu Qingye. Now that the emperor was under Chu Yihan's control, and Chu Qingye was crippled, what use was Su Jinxian to them? The entire Great Qing dynasty was now Chu Yihan's world. Su Yingxue, the future 9th princess consort, was equivalent to the mother of the country. Su Jinxian was no longer her match. "No. Master, I'm still useful. I am still your source of blood. How will you survive without my blood type?" Su Jinxuan's eyes widened. He knew very well why Wu Dao had chosen him. Wu Dao had a serious blood disease and needed his blood to survive. The origin of Wu Dao and Long Shuli. Wu Dao's eyes, hidden beneath the black cloak, fixed on Su Jinxian. In the dim light, his skin appeared dark and spotted, giving him a ferocious and terrifying appearance. "Are you threatening me?" Su Jinxuan's body tensed up. I dare not." Though he feared Wu Dao, he was acutely aware that only Wu Dao could save him in his current predicament. "Master, please save me. Considering the blood shed by both my sister and me for you, I implore you to heal me. I will ensure Su Yingxue's demise in return." Su Jinxian pleaded with all his might. He resembled a man hanging from a cliff, clinging desperately to any hope of survival. However, Wu Dao paid him no heed. From his sleeve, he produced a thick needle and callously drew blood from Su Jinxian. While Wu Dao's demeanor remained grim, a glimmer of desire and excitement flickered in his eyes at the sight of fresh blood. Su Jinxian had his blood drawn and kept pleading with Wu Dao, but he didn't take it to heart. After the blood was drawn, he left, heartless and cold. Su Jinxian, capable of only moving his tongue, summoned his remaining strength to shout after Wu Dao's departing figure. "Wu Dao! You refuse to heal me because you cannot bear to harm Su Yingxue. Is that it?" Wu Dao halted his steps, his narrowed eyes exuding a sinister and terrifying aura. With a slight parting of his thin lips, he uttered two chilling words. "How foolish! How could Wu Dao bear to harm Su Yingxue? Isn't it true? Aren't you unwilling to act against Su Yingxue because she is Long Shuli's daughter? Wu Dao, do not deny it. You have developed an affection for Long Shuli. You are cold-blooded and heartless. Your infatuation with your disciple, Long Shuli, led to all of this." Su Jinxuan's accusations escalated rapidly. In the blink of an eye, Wu Dao appeared before Su Jinxian, his hands grasping his neck. Emaciated and scarred, Wu Dao's hands inspired revulsion. Wu Dao's voice was frigid. "Do not presume that your understanding equates to the truth. You are merely self-righteous. I have been intelligent since childhood. After so many years as your disciple, I am confident in my perceptions. If you truly harbored no affection for Long Shuli, why would you instigate our family to oppose her?" Su Jinxian retorted defiantly. "Ha! Ha 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 ha." Wu Dao laughed coldly, seemingly crazed. "If I liked her, would I have tossed her to your father? Do you think you've uncovered many things about me?" "Of course, I have uncovered many things." Su Jinxian smirked. You tossed her to my father because she defied you and went against your wishes. You wanted to humiliate her, and my father happened to pass by and took advantage of the situation. You hoped to suppress Long Shuli with this incident, but Long Shuli is no ordinary woman. Not only was she not suppressed, but she also used my father's identity to enter the Marquis Manor, becoming a renowned divine doctor. She has never submitted to you, even in death. Never yielded. Wu Dao's hands tightened. Despite his surgical expertise, these hands, even without surgical tools, could suffocate and torment with far greater intensity than an ordinary person. Su Jinxian, you know too much, Wu Dao growled, his eyes ablaze with fury. Su Jinxian, undeterred by Wu Dao's anger, continued vehemently. Wu Dao. Master. My assertions are correct. You failed to obtain Long Shuli, so what if you eliminated her? She had a son and a daughter, both exceptional individuals. Your jealousy and madness are futile. Set a wedding date. You raised me and my sister, yet you failed to defeat them. That's your failure. You'll never overcome Long Shuli in your lifetime. Shut up. Wu Dao's anger was palpable. Ha! I want. Su Yingxue has been hindering your plans for so long. Though you pretend to want her gone, you can't bring yourself to truly kill her. All your attempts have been thwarted by her. Su Yingxue is no longer someone you can simply dispose of. She's the 9th princess consort. You won't be able to kill her. What a joke. Wu Dao's laughter was particularly hoarse. His mouth twisted into a cold sneer. I taught her mother. She was born in an era like yours. How could I not kill her? Then go ahead and kill her. Su Jinxian roared. It's not time yet. There's no rush. No rush, or are you afraid? You've regretted killing Long Shuli for years. So when you see Su Yingxue, it's like seeing Long Shuli. Even though Long Shuli ruined your plans to conquer the 4 kingdoms and become the ruler of the world, you still can't bring yourself to kill Su Yingxue. In the future, Su Yingxue will surely kill you, just like Long Shuli, utterly destroy you. Su Jinxian, using his last ounce of strength, shouted these words before immediately biting off his tongue. Blood gushed from his mouth. Wu Dao tried to staunch the bleeding, but he couldn't save him. As Su Jinxian closed his eyes, they were filled with relief. It was over. His life had ended, but he knew Su Yingxue's ordeal was about to begin. Without him as a blood source, Wu Dao would have to go after Su Yingxue. Without blood, he would perish. Wu Dao was cunning and ruthless. His medical skills surpassed Long Shuli's, and his power exceeded Chu Yihan's. His ambition was to dominate the 4 kingdoms and make everyone submit to him. Su Yingxue had a vendetta against him for killing her mother. He would have killed Su Yingxue, and Su Yingxue would have surely wanted to kill him too. Both the one who caused his death and the one he sought to kill would meet a tragic end. Though Su Jinxian was still unwilling, he was content. His death would usher in a torrent of bloodshed. Wu Dao discarded Su Jinxuan's body and, while his blood was still fresh, extracted all he could with a syringe. He took the blood and departed. A thin layer of snow had already covered the ground. He looked down at the moonlit green stone slab, his eyes filled with greed and longing. The moonlight must be beautiful at this moment. But he was not worthy of the light. In this life, he could only dwell in darkness. How despicable. Chu Yihan recuperated for a few days and settled matters in the palace. Then he came to discuss marriage arrangements with Su Qingji. He brought along Lin Qin, the Minister of Rites, and the Si Tianjian, and carefully recounted all the wedding arrangements he had made in the past few days in front of everyone at the Marquis Manor. Su Qingji, seated at the head, wore a complex expression. Su Dingheng and Su Dingwei sat below, their expressions also complex. Su Yingxue, Su Han, and Su Miaoyan sat at the back, each with a different expression. Su Qingji pondered. Isn't the wedding date next month a bit rushed? This is an auspicious date, Chu Yihan declared loudly. It's not rushed. Si Tianjian shifted his portly frame and grinned with a joyous and auspicious expression. Old General, the 8th of next month is the best day in the past 6 months. It's the perfect day for a wedding, especially for the 9th prince. It's a cause for celebration. Look at how he treated Su Yingxue. Su Qingji nodded. Since Si Tianjian says so, well, do as your highness says. However, the betrothal gifts and ceremony. Su Qingji glanced at the courtyard, filled with piles of items, feeling a bit worried. Su Dingheng's hands, tucked into his sleeves, fidgeted uneasily. Your highness, betrothal gifts are quite generous. When the emperor appointed the empress, he only gave 120 betrothal gifts. Today, Chu Yihan had sent 360 boxes, 3 times the number the emperor had sent to the empress. Where would they store all of these if the Marquis manor wasn't spacious enough? Chu Yihan, unconcerned, remarked, everything I have belongs to the princess consort. It's not excessive. Su Dingheng instantly fell silent. When it came to Su Dingwei and Qin Muyan, although Qin Muyan was shocked, she didn't intend to speak up. However, her husband was an honest man. He said, Your Highness, there are customary procedures for your wedding ceremony. On the day of your wedding, you have to worship your ancestors and open an imperial ancestral temple. Is this too extravagant? For an ordinary family to open an ancestral hall, all their relatives had to be present to discuss matters. Opening an imperial ancestral hall required the presence of all imperial family members, bowing and kowtowing. When they proceeded to the ancestral hall, commoners would kneel and greet them. This kind of grandeur was unprecedented, even for the emperor. Chu Yihan remained calm. As a member of the imperial family, I naturally have to inform my ancestors of my marriage. I won't make it public. All their concerns and feelings of impropriety were brushed aside by Chu Yihan. As Su Yingxue's elders, they had nothing to say. Chu Yihan's gaze softened as it landed on Su Yingxue. Is there anything else you're unhappy with? Do you want anything else? Oh my God. Lin Qin and Si Tianjian were so shocked they could barely speak. When they replied to Chu Yihan, they were drenched in cold sweat. When had they ever seen Chu Yihan smile? But the smile he directed at Su Yingxue was beyond words. How many lifetimes would one need to cultivate to see such a divine visage? Lin Qin was dumbfounded. Su Yingxue pursed her lips and shook her head. It's nothing. Chu Yihan could sense her indifference, and the tension around him eased. You don't have any objections? Is there something you're dissatisfied with, or are you dissatisfied with everything? His piercing gaze shifted to Lin Qin and Si Tianjian. The two immediately knelt. Please instruct us, Miss Su. If there are any shortcomings, we will rectify them immediately. Although Lin Qin had been treated by Su Yingxue before, he felt a sense of camaraderie, but now in front of Chu Yihan, he had no choice but to kneel. Si Tianjian, adept at reading expressions, tried to say something to please Chu Yihan. Perhaps Miss Su feels that the wedding date is too distant? Chu Yihan's expression instantly softened. Is that what you think? I can arrange for a closer date. No need. The 8th of next month is already quite soon. Discussing marriage made Su Yingxue nervous. Su Han stepped in to ease her sister's tension. Your Highness, she's just shy. Your wedding is much more complicated than that of an ordinary noble. She's never experienced it before, so she's a bit overwhelmed. Please forgive her. Su Yingxue glanced gratefully at Su Han. What a wonderful sister. She didn't know what else to say. Carrying betrothal gifts, that's right, brother-in-law. If one were the sister, I would also be shocked. Your Highness has prepared the marriage too thoroughly. We can all see your Highness' deep love for sister. Su Miaoyan said crisply. Chu Yihan was thoroughly delighted when she referred to your Highness as brother-in-law, successfully charming him. Chu Yihan promised her, when you get married in the future, brother-in-law will prepare a generous dowry for you. Su Miaoyan was a little excited and a little shy. Although Miaoyan is still young, but, thank you, brother-in-law. She bowed and thanked Chu Yihan. Then she turned around and pulled Su Yingxue to shout, Sister, brother-in-law is good. Su Yingxue's face was already red, but she was embarrassed by her teasing. She gently pinched Su Miaoyan's cheek. You, just wait. When you get married in the future, 111 teach you a lesson. Su Miaoyan did not care and stuck out her tongue. When one get married in the future, sister and brother-in-law will have children running all over the place. How would you have the time to deal with me? After Su Miaoyan finished speaking, she was afraid of being beaten by Su Yingxue and ran away in time. Fortunately, the elders of the Su family did not have any objections to Chu Yihan's arrangements. Chu Yihan came over today and settled everything. When he left, he seemed to be in a good mood. Since Su Yingxue's wedding date was set, everyone in the Marquis Manor, starting from Sook Jingzi, would be busy with her. As there were many complicated formalities, Lin Qin had no choice but to stay behind and explain in detail to everyone in the Marquis Manor. He even wrote a long list for Su Yingxue, so that she would not be nervous after she had simply read through the process. Su Yingxue looked at Lin Qin's list, and the corners of her mouth twitched. "Aren't you nervous?" It was just that the worship of thousands of people was enough for her. "Miss Su, you mustn't be nervous. If you sneeze, Your Highness will cut off my head." Lin Qin felt a slight weakness in his knees as he settled into his seat. In the past, Su Yingxue was the one who prescribed the prescription for him. Now he did not even dare to trouble Su Yingxue to write a single word. He tried his best to persuade Su Yingxue. "Miss Su, don't worry. I'm just going through these things for you. When the time comes, there will be the royal bridesmaids and the various imperial wives who will settle everything for you. You only need to walk around and don't have to worry about anything." Only then did Su Yingxue relax a little. "All right, then I'll have to trouble Lord Lin." "Miss, you're welcome." Lin Qin stood up and watched Su Yingxue leave before sitting down again. After Su Yingxue left, the huge front hall resumed its busy state. When Su Xinlan and Yi Zhenzhen arrived, Su Qingji and the other men were busy, and only Su Han could entertain them. Su Xinlan was extremely dissatisfied. Su Han served her tea, but she refused to drink it. "What's wrong with that? Even if I'm married off, I'm still the daughter of the Marquis Manor. When I come back, I can't even sit in the front hall. Yet it's still you serving tea. Where's Su Yingxue?" Su Han smiled politely. "Aunt, please forgive me. It's the 9th prince who came to deliver the betrothal gifts and discuss the wedding today, so Grandpa, Daddy, and second uncle are busy with Yingxue's wedding. Yingxue also has her things to do, so she can't come to see you. Please forgive me." 9th prince is sending betrothal gifts? From the entrance to the front hall. Those boxes were all sent by 9th prince? Yi Zhenzhen's face was filled with disbelief. Su Han nodded and replied, "Yes." "What is it? That many?" Su Xinlan's voice became sharp. "That's 1 to 200 things. Why did the 9th prince give so much to Su Yingxue?" Jealousy keeps me awake. This was infuriating. Even if Yi Zhenzhen, the county lord, were to marry in the future, she wouldn't find a family in the Great Qing dynasty that could offer such extravagant betrothal gifts. It was maddening. Yi Zhenzhen felt the same anger, though she didn't blurt it out like Su Xinlan. "Sorry, Aunt." Su Han calmly interjected. "The betrothal gifts from your highness total 360 caddies." Her voice was soft but hit Su Xinlan and Yi Zhenzhen like a heavy blow. "What? 360 caddies?" Su Xinlan's voice was sharp. Since the founding of the Great Qing dynasty, no one had ever presented such lavish betrothal gifts. This was unprecedented. Su Xinlan was deeply frustrated, while Yi Zhenzhen seethed with jealousy. She was burning with jealousy. Observing their reactions, Su Han smirked satisfactorily and left. Once Su Han departed, Yi Zhenzhen couldn't contain her agitation. Why, Mother, look at Su Yingxue. I'm also the daughter of the Marquis Manor, and the granddaughter of my maternal grandfather. I've been conferred the title of County Lord. But I can't even imagine anyone proposing to me with such grandeur. Su Xinlan had already arranged a marriage for her with the youngest son of the Prime Minister's estate. When they were engaged, the Prime Minister's estate had given her 60 gifts, and she had boasted about them for a long time. However, compared to Su Yingxue, her 60 gifts seemed like a mere joke. What's the point of saying all this? The Prime Minister's estate may be esteemed by others, but to the 9th prince, it's nothing. Su Xinlan sighed deeply. Yi Zhenzhen gritted her teeth, feeling wronged. Indeed, the Prime Minister's estate was beyond the reach of ordinary people. Even for a daughter of a noble family, it was a prestigious match. Initially, she thought marrying the prime minister's son was an honor. But now there was Su Yingxue, her cousin, marrying far better than her, 100, 1,000 times better. Su Yingxue was becoming a princess consort, and Zhenzhen would have to bow to her. Just thinking about it kept her awake at night with jealousy. Zhenzhen had been pampered since childhood in the Qin Marquis Manor. Her ambitions matched Su Zinlin's. She used to be content with what she had, but now, with a comparison, she wanted more. Why was Su Yingxue able to marry the 9th prince and receive such lavish treatment? When she got married, she had to kowtow to her like an empress. What had she done? Thinking about this, she couldn't sleep for several days. She went to Su Zinlin's place to pay her respects and share her thoughts. Su Xinlan immediately rejected her, gently tapping Zhenzhen's head. Are you out of your mind? You want to replace Su Yingxue as the 9th princess consort. You can't just become a princess by saying so. Zhenzhen pouted, a trace of grievance on her slightly round face. Su Han was once a regional princess? Mother, you are also from the Marquis Manor. Can you watch as your 2 elder brothers' daughters marry better than your daughter? What happened to that little bitch Su Han? Why are you competing with her? As for this Su Yingxue, Su Xinlan gnashed her teeth in hatred at the thought of Su Yingxue. She had been taught a lesson by Su Yingxue many times, and her anger still burned inside her. She couldn't shake off her depression. And Su Yingxue was about to get married. Once she married Yihan, she would have to kneel in front of Su Yingxue and endure her torment. This was very uncomfortable. Go to the 9th prince's mansion with thick-skinned Zhenzhen had picked up some useful skills from Su Xinlan, like reading people's expressions and speaking directly to the point. Mother, don't forget how many times Su Yingxue has schooled you. What if she holds a grudge after becoming the princess consort, and comes after you again? Then your mouth will have to. Damn it. I'm her aunt. How dare she? Su Xinlan was both furious and inwardly alarmed. Zhenzhen's words had a ring of truth to them. Su Xinlan was genuinely worried that Su Yingxue might bear grudges, leading to more trouble in the future. After much thought, Su Xinlan came up with a daring idea. Since she feared Su Yingxue's potential grudges, why not marry Zhenzhen to Yihan as well? Even if Su Yingxue became the primary consort and Zhenzhen the secondary one, they would still both belong to Yihan. Su Xinlan could then teach Zhenzhen how to vie for favor and outshine Su Yingxue, leaving no room for retaliation. Thus she made up her mind. To have Zhenzhen marry the 9th prince, Su Xinlan was determined to make Zhenzhen meet the 9th prince first. The next day, Su Xinlan had Zhenzhen dressed up beautifully. She adorned her with all the exquisite jewelry from the Qin Marquis Manor, including pearls, jade, and agate, making Zhenzhen look dazzling. Zhenzhen usually wore heavy jewelry. Today, she felt her neck was a bit weighed down, making it hard for her to stand. However, knowing she couldn't afford to lose face when visiting the 9th prince's mansion, she ignored the weight on her neck. Upon arriving at the 9th prince's mansion, they didn't mention Marquis Changsun's mansion, but instead claimed to be from the Marquis of Marshall South's manor, Su Yingxue's maternal family. Upon hearing that Su Yingxue's family had arrived, the guard of the 9th prince's mansion didn't dare to be neglectful. He promptly went to welcome them and even sent someone to inform the old steward, who dropped everything and personally greeted them. When Yihan proposed marriage, he visited the Marquis of Marshall South's manor and memorized the faces of all the masters there. However, when he saw Su Xinlan and Zhenzhen, he was taken aback. He had never seen them before. Despite his doubts, since they claimed to be from Su Yingxue's family, he didn't dare to be rude. He invited them into the hall and served them the finest tea and snacks. With a polite smile he asked, "May I inquire, madam and miss, what relation are you to the future princess consort? Please inform me so I can notify your highness." Su Zinlin's eyes brightened when she heard Yihan's inquiry. "I'm Yingxue's aunt and this is my daughter." She gestured towards Zhenzhen. Zhenzhen politely smiled at the steward. The steward returned the smile, but when he got a clear look at Zhenzhen, his expression froze. He wanted to ask Zhenzhen if her jewelry wasn't too heavy. However, he decided against it, swallowing his doubts and only pondering the relationship between Su Yingxue and her aunt. As he entertained them, he sought out Mochi to inquire whether Your Highness wished to meet them. When Mochi heard about Su Yingxue's aunt, he was confused. What brings them here? The old steward speculated a bit. Perhaps the future princess consort doesn't have a good relationship with her aunt's family? How could that be termed not good? Miss Su has reprimanded her aunt several times. Her aunt's daughter. Birds of a feather flock together. She's not a good person. Even so, I must inform Your Highness. The old steward considered carefully. Mochi agreed, and he relayed the information to Yihan. He missed Su Yingxue as expected, Yihan replied. Tell them to leave. He wouldn't even acknowledge anyone who didn't have a good relationship with Su Yingxue. However, just as Mochi walked out, Yihan called him back. You go personally to the Marquis Manor and inform Yingxue about this. Let her handle it. Mochi didn't understand. Why don't I just chase them out on behalf of Your Highness? Why bother our future princess consort? Yihan looked at him with an oppressive gaze, causing Mochi to feel a sharp pain all over his body. He went obediently. When Su Yingxue came to the prince's mansion with him, only then did he realize that Your Highness hadn't seen Su Yingxue for a few days and missed her. Mochi patted his head. He had been so busy recently that he had become silly. He didn't even realize Your Highness' thoughts in time. He deserved a beating. On the other hand, Su Yingxue was a little confused on the way back. She had been busy taking care of her two main patients and focused on making medicine. She had no time to care about Su Xinlan and Zhenzhen. Why did they suddenly come to the 9th prince's mansion? Su Xinlan and Zhenzhen received preferential treatment in the 9th prince's mansion. The steward would chat with them politely from time to time, and Zhenzhen's vanity grew stronger and stronger. If she could marry into the prince's mansion and become the mistress of the residence, how glorious would that be? All the women in the great Qing dynasty would be envious of her. Thinking of this, the smile on her face was already a little exaggerated. Aunt cousin, are you treating the prince's mansion like your own backyard? Su Yingxue teased as soon as she entered the front hall. Zhenzhen and Su Xinlan were still immersed in their sweet dreams. Su Xinlan was shocked when she heard Su Yingxue's voice. You. Su Yingxue, why are you here? Cousin. How did you? You didn't even tell me you were coming. Zhenzhen was scared out of her wits. For some reason, Su Yingxue's sudden appearance made her feel a little uneasy. Su Yingxue smiled. The two of you, this is the 9th prince's mansion, my fiancé's mansion. The two of you. You didn't inform me in advance and came here quietly. I should be the one asking the two of you. What are you doing here? Su Xinlan felt especially embarrassed by her tone of being the mistress of the house. Of course, we're here to get closer to our future brother-in-law. After all, we're all relatives in the future, so we have to interact more. Or is it that sister doesn't wish for our Marquis Manor to be close to Your Highness? Zhenzhen was very good at finding excuses for herself, even if this excuse made people feel that she was shameless. The smile on Su Yingxue's face could no longer be maintained. Zhenzhen, which Marquis Manor are you talking about? Is it your Chongqing Marquis Manor, or our Marquis of Marshall South's Manor? What's the difference? We're all from the Marquis Manor, and we share the same bloodline, so why should we be so clear about it? Su Xinlan rolled her eyes at her. She did not want to admit the fact that Chongqing Marquis Manor was inferior to Marquis of Marshall South's Manor. The difference is huge. Su Yingxue walked to the main seat in front of the hall and sat down. Using her identity as the host, she lectured them. If it's the Chongqing Marquis Manor, then aunt and your daughter have come to the wrong house. Your Highness, no need to be close to the Chongqing Marquis Manor. If it's the Marquis of Marshall South's Manor, you are even less qualified to come to Your Highness' place. When aunt got married, grandfather had already cut off the relationship between father and daughter with you. Now, it's you who is shameless and brings your daughter to the Marquis Manor every day. You really can't be considered a member of our Marquis Fu, so aunt, please have some self-respect. Happy to see Yihan. Su Yingxue emphasized the last two words, her cold brows indicating her displeasure. Today, she was slightly dressed up, wearing a light blue dress with layers of waves on the hem, adorned with sparkling pearls. Her already captivating face was further enhanced by a touch of makeup, adding a soul-stirring charm to her beauty. In front of her, Zhenzhen felt ashamed of herself, but she relied on her careful dressing today and kept encouraging herself. Don't be afraid. Zhenzhen thought to herself. She wore more jewelry than Su Yingxue, and it was more valuable. Her beauty, at most, was just a little inferior to Su Yingxue's. She raised her head even more arrogantly. Cousin's words don't make sense. There may be differences in the Marquis manor, but why should we be so clear about our blood ties? Are you suggesting that after you become the princess consort, you'll no longer be my aunt's niece, my cousin? She deliberately mocked Su Yingxue, hoping to embarrass her in front of the prince's mansion's servants. If they had seen this, they would have thought that Su Yingxue was a difficult master to serve. Su Yingxue sneered. If I say it's not, then it's not. And as for blood ties, if you don't mind, I can help you and your mother change your blood ties with me. Ew. How would you do that? Blood ties can't just disappear. Zhenzhen was angry. Su Yingxue's threat sounded truly terrifying. She subconsciously tightened her grip on Su Zinlan's hand. Su Xinlan was also confused and terrified. Su Yingxue took out a syringe from her sleeve and showed it to them. Exactly. I'll use this device to drain the blood from your body and replace it with someone else's blood. Then your blood won't have anything to do with me, and you won't be related to me by blood anymore. Su Yingxue had an innocent look on her face. She tilted her head and even smiled. Her smile made Su Xinlan and Yi Zhenzhen's faces turn pale. Draining all the blood from my body? No. Zhenzhen felt terrified just thinking about it. She shouted in front of Su Xinlan. Su Xinlan hadn't expected this either. Su Yingxue, you're too ruthless. She pulled Zhenzhen and tried to leave, fearing that if they stayed longer, Su Yingxue might draw their blood. This woman could come up with any terrifying methods. It was too frightening. Wait. The old steward instructed someone to stop them. He still smiled kindly. The two of you, Your Highness, have not given any orders yet. You cannot leave the mansion without his permission. What? How long do we have to wait? What does Your Highness want to do? The experience of being slapped by Yihan made her tremble uncontrollably. Zhenzhen was at a loss. She could only hold Su Zinlan's arm tightly and huddle next to her. It depends on Your Highness' mood. After the old steward finished speaking, he respectfully approached Su Yingxue. Miss Su, Your Highness is waiting for you. Su Yingxue nodded and waved at Su Xinlan and Zhenzhen. You two wait here. You can leave when Your Highness is in a good mood. Su Yingxue. Don't go. Cousin, help me. Su Yingxue ignored their pleas. But she was excited at the thought of seeing Yihan. Roar. As they passed by the garden, Su Yingxue heard a tiger's roar. She was suddenly drawn to a white shadow on the mountain. Shanbao. Long time no see. Shanbao cried out again. This woman finally remembered it. Humph. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.